Hello and welcome to the Video Game Choo Choo podcast. We is Risen. We're back with a very special Easter edition of the podcast. Everything is going extremely smoothly. It's exactly how we want it. And I'm Scott B. I'm ready to deliver onto you from the Church of Video Games. And I'm here with a couple of my apostles. I have Maverick.
John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have eternal life.
I got Lorelai.
Hey, I figured it's Easter, so I should probably just party with a bunch of bunnies.
I love it. We did so good at this today.
Yeah, absolutely nothing scuffed, just a perfect go, which is shocking for a VTuber stream. Nothing went wrong.
It is still low res for me. I don't know why. That's fine. You know what? It's fair. We got a whole podcast we're gonna do today. It's bugging me so much. Welcome. If you're listening to this on the audio feed, we're doing another live episode. We're out here on twitch.tv/VGCC, and we're just gonna chill and have fun today. It's Easter. What else do you do on Easter other than have fun? Seriously, what do you do? I don't know.
I get chocolate. There's some eggs involved. In some families, you might have a nice brisket at like Seder. I don't know.
You could have a brisket, yeah. Why are you so low resolution? What is happening?
Who the fuck cares?
I care. I want you to look nice. You look great here.
I want to look nice.
You look great here. I love how you look
perfect. Here. I always look perfect.
This weird negging from Scott. You looked so nice before. What happened?
No, yeah, I mean...
I'm not saying you aren't lovely. I'm just saying that there was a time where I could feel more of a spark. And I just want to know what happened.
I'm just getting angry now.
Oh, shit. Fuck.
Angry.
Yeah, you shouldn't have said all that.
I'm feeling violence.
It's nothing against you. It's all me. It's just me.
It's all me, except for the parts that have to deal with you as a person.
No. Oh my God, Maverick.
Imagine if I were someone that were like just confident in being able to nag on others.
Speaking of negging, let's move on to video games. Where I think most of the negging that we've ever experienced has happened, probably. And I think we've all played a pretty good amount of video games where we can talk about these bad boys. Lorelai,
you say you.
Lorelai, I see that you have put on our docket that you have played the game Suikoden, which seems pretty typical for you.
I have played the game Suikoden.
Suikoden.
It's very, very typical for me. But the most important thing is, like, it was something I wanted to go revisit because I've been thinking a lot about the remaster coming up. Which has been bugging the hell out of me because they have been silent for like 2 months. They were doing like a lot of PR stuff for a while, putting up polls that were like, hey, what are your favorite attacks in the game? Let us show off the new animations we have for it. And then they just went silent. And we have no idea when these remasters are coming. We've had no updates in like 2 months. And I was just like, fuck it. I want to jump back into Suikoden. And I started replaying Suikoden 1. And I got, well, all the way to my favorite scene in the game. Where they ask, they point out that there's all this killing in front of a children.
I hate when you do that. You're not supposed to do that.
Yeah, it's it's kind of a weird thing to think on where I go, hey, they're remastering it. They're redoing a lot of the script and stuff like that. But there are these just classic, really, really bad direct translation moments in the originals that are like, I'm gonna miss them. I'm gonna miss Matthew saying all this killing in front of a children. I, I'm I'm not going to miss one character going, I chose to be a woman instead of a leader when she dies rescuing a child.
Oh boy.
Uh, like, there are ones I'm not gonna fucking miss. But there are a lot of them that are just like these classic, really bad translation moments. Like, there's a cat in Suikoden 2 that talks instead of meowing because they accidentally put the wrong text into its box instead of another.
That's pretty good.
There are just all these little great things about these original games that it's so much fun to go back to. And like, yeah, there are some garbage moments that I hope they like make a little easier, like recruiting one character that is like plot requires you to beat him in a gambling game that is when you play against him, it's like near impossible. But when you unlock the gambling game later in the game, it's infinite money.
Hmm.
But the first time you have to do it, it's this miserable mess where all you have to do is win once. Or win
that's
a
how
couple of times.
that's how gambling works most of the time, is like you just
Yeah,
start it, you get a couple bad ones, but then you just keep going and eventually you jackpot.
But the RNG of the original one is literally programmed as a cheat with the character, like programmed to win more. So it's like the worst thing in the world. It is the dead point of speedruns. Like, speedruns go through, they go to recruit that character, and it's just like, well, time to restart. I didn't get Tai-Ho skip.
That's so sad.
It's so funny.
I hate when they can't go fast enough.
I just love going back to these games, and it's something I go back to every year. Every year I have replayed 1 through 5. But last week when I started moving, I loaded it up on my PSP and just like, hey, I have these old games that I can play mobily since all my consoles are in a box. And it's just really nice to be able to go back through and play games because, yeah, all my consoles are still in boxes because I've also been playing this new ARG version of Unpacking where I'm unpacking into my new house.
Interesting.
So the process of moving has been an adventure of unboxing everything, and it has limited my game time to up until a couple days ago when I finally got my computer fully hooked up. Because the movers packed in like 6 different boxes all the different wires I need.
What parts you got in that bad boy?
I've got it's got a 3090. I need to upgrade the RAM, but it's still pretty nice to just go through and play games again. But yeah, I've been like unpacking and just playing Suikoden when I need to relax because I can do that. And God, it's good to go back to that game.
Mav, what parts you dealing with now? I see that you got cool new parts. I want to see what these parts are, and I want to see what they do.
Yeah, I got my new PC parts.
Let's do it.
Because I haven't built the thing yet. I need to still do that. Here is the screwdriver set that I'm gonna use to eventually fix all this. Folding it out. There's all these little bits. I don't think I need all of them, but I knew that. Oh, Eventually I'd need it. So there's that. Um uh uh we got Corsair Vengeance, 32 gigs of RAM. Um there's that. It makes the computer go. I'm sure it'll be fine. Nothing's gonna be wrong with that. I got a 980 Pro. That's important for storing memory and information. I might need another one. I don't know. Here's a Mag X50S Tomahawk with max Wi-Fi. I'm sure it's fine. And that's what it looks like. You also need, of course, the CPU. That's why I got the AMD Ryzen 7 8-core 16-thread processor. Now with 5800 X's. What is this, Scott Pilgrim 5? Next, that's not.
That's a funny joke.
Parts. It's next we have the Corsair RME. The RM 850E REM. What is this? The band with such hits as "Where Is My Mind"? This is the power supply. It should power everything. And of course, what gamers complete without the graphics card? So here's the Zotac Gaming 3060 Ti for all of your twin edge needs. It's got 8 gigabit Go GDDR6 freeze technology. It does Ice Storm.
It causes
I mean,
ice
it
storm.
usually is good to edge with twins, so.
Yeah, I wish I knew more. RTX on. And it's all gonna sit inside of a 8 NZXT H5 flow case. But of course, Maverick, are you stupid? You need some sort of cooling inside of the device. And yeah, you're right. Dipshit, I was getting to that.
Hey, don't be rude.
Which is why I have the Peerless Assassin 120 SE from Thermal Right. And it's like THERMALRIGHT. So it's like thermal right, and then it's like therm all right.
You should install it on the left side of your machine just to fuck with them.
Yeah, I could. Here's them. And here's here's this.
Cool.
Ooh.
Yeah. And that was how Maverick gets all of his favorite PC parts together. Stay tuned for how we're gonna make chili cheese nachos.
Chachos.
Here's some WD-40.
I see it.
Oh no, I broke the top. As
Incredible.
penance, allow me.
No, don't, Nav, don't. You don't need to do that. No, okay.
No, but seriously, I'm very glad that I was able to get all this together. And at some point, because in the world of PC part picking, it looks like there's just no. One part I believe genuinely is the fact that like shit just isn't built the same as it used to be, and so there's like a lot of understandable like nihilism over the craft at this point. But also like I'm a motherfucker who is never gonna play the highest edge like game of COD Warzone in my life. So I'm not needing specs for that. I need specs that'll help me get along because like when I initially got this first run PC, given to me by a dear friend who just knew that I needed something new and was like, oh hey, yeah, have one of my old machines. It's like a smaller, it's like just a bit smaller than whatever like a standard like mid-tower ATX build is. And runs like a dream normally. I already talked about my old PC was before, but the genuine want for a new PC did come out like as soon as I got it, if only because like it was having problems running Haven. And granted, I don't know if that game just runs bad on its own. It could totally be that as like a case point, but like that being the current gen of the time, like at 2020, and it not being able to handle that, in the back of my head, it was always like, I'll eventually want something that could like beef it up a bit. Because this old one's rocking like an AMD, like Ryzen, not Ryzen, like an AMD something. Something that I know just like works for most things. But then part of the reason why I have this PS5 now is to sort of like fill that gap. And now once again, I'm filling that gap in another way with a new PC build. But it's what it is. Again, all of this is just a happy happenstance to let me be a little bit stupid.
That's fun. I like to have a fun time with being a little silly with it.
I generally might buy an additional SSD though, because like I keep seeing stuff that's like, oh, have the boot up on like a separate thing from where you have your sword, and it's like that makes sense.
Now, Lorelai, I see that you have been playing a little Like a Dragon Ishin. We talked a good amount about it last week. I just want to get your take. Okay, interesting. I see.
Well,
I see.
I have greatly been enjoying Like a Dragon Ishin, and not just for the side story stuff.
Interesting.
As you can see, there are definitely appealing things about Like a Dragon Ishin. No, it's been like really fun to jump back into it over the last couple of days because yeah, like I had started before I had boxed my computer up and gotten about 3/4 the way through the game. And getting that far through the game, like I think the story is like kind of lacking in a way. At least compared to what I'm used to in a Yakuza game, I feel like it's a little less interesting. There's a little less intrigue going on. It's still good. Like, it's still keeping me caring. But at the same time, I did not mind the 20 hours I did farming, taking a break from it. I actually enjoyed more the little hanging out with Kenny Omega and
that's fun. I want to hang out with him.
All the other like weird influencer cards you can get for your gangsters, which is just like really weird. But I've really been kind of enjoying the little dungeon crawling that came with that. It like makes me actually learn the combat system, which is pretty fun. But also made the actual story moments of the game a complete joke difficulty wise. Like, I mean, I'm taking out boss fights in like 30 seconds now because I just spent so much time going through the dungeon crawling stuff that all of my skills are mostly maxed. And all of my, having all the different abilities unlocked that you can get suddenly makes the game kind of a broken joke. Like early in the game, the just using the gun is stupid broken. But later in the game, taking out your sword and just annihilating people in like 3 hits feels really good. And like I enjoy the fact that like something that feels broken is kind of actually setting you down the wrong path. So like when you start playing, you might take out the gun the first time and go, "Oh, this feels totally broken." But then by the time you get about halfway through, suddenly everything starts countering that. Or just it does suddenly when early on it does it does a ton of damage. Even like high level gun, like leveling it up heavily, once you get to like the midpoint of the game, suddenly it's doing no damage at all. And I kind of appreciate that. I kind of like that, hey, you actually do have to change up how you play.
That is cool, yeah.
Like it's fun the way all the characters are repurposed into different historical characters that share their like traits. So like, you know, Majima still feels like the mad dog of Shimano, even though that's not who he is in this. It's like it's kind of fun that the like all of the characters are different people, but they are reflecting who they are in the main game. So if you can kind of understand who those different characters are. And God, it's just I don't know, it's just really nice to run around a city again on my feet and do side quests all day. Which once again, like the side quests are a highlight with things. Some of them take a little too long to get going because you have to like max out fucking friendship levels, and that's insufferable sometimes. Sometimes it's literally like go buy one thing from a shop like 30 frickin' times, and then you'll max it out, and then it's just like, and you'll get the same boost from buying one thing as you will from buying 20. So it's just like there's some really annoying elements that I hope they stop doing in the future, because I like 100%ing these games, and some of it just takes too stupid long and isn't fun in the way you're maxing it out.
Right.
And that is like my issue with the ones that are like, hey, if you go buy food from this restaurant like 20 times in a row, then it'll unlock a mini game where you serve the food and then you can get the last like quarter of the bar you need to max out the friendship after you finish this mini game. And it's like, no, stop. Just unlock the mini game right from the start, please. And let me keep maxing it out by just buying food if I don't enjoy the fucking shitty mini game. Especially when, that is like the one mini game in this game that I just do not enjoy at all. Which, there's definitely issues. It's the same issues that every Yakuza game kind of has, but I'm still drawn in by the way the story is going, by the combat gameplay, and by a lot of the other mini games that are around it. Because there are a lot of really fun, goofy ones, like Combat Arena Challenge kind of stuff, that I just really, really enjoy. But yeah, there's some of that boring stuff around it that is just like tedious and takes away a bit from the final product because it's excessively long.
Right.
It's also this thing where, I mean, again, like I always cite the fact that historically this is a game that's between the end of 5 and right before we get into Yakuza 0. And so like there are a lot of things you can see that come from it that they then take into 0 in a way that is like reinvigorated for the fact that they're working with new tech. They're on the cusp of maybe sending up a new engine. Like there's a bit more like energy getting out of Ishin, I would say. But then you also look at what's before it, where it's like, you know, they just finished Yakuza 5. They have at least had 2 games in the series where this idea is you aren't just Kiryu anymore. You're having all these multiple different interactions. Have at least had some familiarity still with the PS3 and like where it's at with its limitations, where I will definitely believe that this is maybe like one of the more interesting pieces out of that library by virtue of being near the end stage of it. But at the same time, yeah, it's like it's a weird growing pain is how I felt about it. And especially where a lot of the experimentation comes from the fact that it is like easy to say, oh no, like none of this is canon, essentially. Like we're just retelling a very particular point of history, just reinterpreting it with the Yakuza cast, which they add a lot more in Ishin. Like we never really touched on the fact that some of these characters just do not show, like, are originally made in the PS3 adaptation. Like there is no one-on-one equivalent for like sort of like the rival character that you end up having, where in here they replaced it with Awano, or like one of the like head figures in Yakuza 0, because like, oh, let's put that in, it'll make sense with like the dynamic we're having.
Yeah, there's definitely some of that from there, and it's like one of my things is kind of going back to Yakuza Kiwami and Kiwami 2. This one feels more like the first Yakuza Kiwami, which I felt like Yakuza Kiwami 2 felt like it actually added a lot to Yakuza 2 in a way. Like Yakuza, like if I had to go back to one of those, like I would play Kiwami 2 over Yakuza 2. But I wouldn't necessarily go back to Kiwami 1 over Yakuza 1. There's just I don't know. I feel like this feels more like Kiwami 1's release did, where it didn't really add anything to the original compared to 2, which like I wish it felt more Kiwami 2 than Kiwami 1. I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Again, it's a weird thing because like it more so came as a result of people asking enough for it, and it's still not the only Yakuza thing to expect, or like a Dragon thing to expect out of this year too, I think, since we're still getting that Kiryu side story, and then like a Dragon 8 comes out pretty soon as well. Like it's done for the sake of getting it done, but it definitely is not something that like I really wanted. Even like when we say, you know, like a Dragon fans, it's the subset that have been there since like the beginning of it that were kind of just like, oh man, look at all these spin-offs and things that are going on. We could have had a beat 'em up sequel for the PSP or a beat 'em up spin-off for the PSP, and it's like that's all cool in theory, and I think getting to interact with that is like important, but all at the same time it's just like, you know, as a Platinum fan, tentatively still at this point, do I necessarily look at every single title of theirs and go like, oh man, I'm glad that I have access to all of this? Sure, I do, but at the same time I also know, like, you know, I'm not really clamoring to go buy the Legend of Korra tie-in game or the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles tie-in. Like, I'm not actively wanting to get to that point, but then I also know, you know, I'm speaking on it with the privilege of having it be released and developed. It's this weird dichotomy where it's like, ultimately, people that did want to get through Ishin and Kenzan probably have already done it. Probably have already either imported the game, have helped out in the development of a language patch mod that you can then apply to a cracked version of the game. Like, you have already been dedicated enough to do the legwork of it. And granted, like, it's a weird case where it's like I don't find myself like arguing to defend the game, nor arguing to necessarily like defend the release of it. But I guess it's also just this weird thing where, like, I don't know.
I wish they had done a little bit more to differentiate it. Because, like, I still love it. Like, I'm being critical, but I have been really, really enjoying it. But at the same time, I just wish it had a little bit more. Yakuza Dead Souls, Dead Souls Kiwami next, please.
See, that'll be the one that really goes off the rails, but in a way that people would probably like.
We did just now come dangerously close to showing nipple on stream, and I think it's fine. I think that's okay. I don't think there's necessarily a problem with that.
Was
They're
it the
not
karaoke song with the live?
Nipples, so it's okay.
Well, okay.
Were you showing that video in the karaoke section?
Yeah, no, it's fine. You know, I think we should move on and talk about another video game.
You know, Yakuza 0 has a lot of just like hidden actors that they don't talk about.
Yeah.
And that for my own reputation to be upheld, I won't know why I know them either.
I would love to talk about the Fire Emblem Engage DLC. Let me set the stage for you real quick. It is Tuesday night at around like 6 p.m. I'm sitting on the cusp of finishing this game. I have the final mission in my sights. It literally says in my save file, "The Last Engage." That's the name of the final mission. And then I remember, oh yeah, isn't there DLC coming out for this game at some point? And I go and I look it up, and it says the release date was Tuesday evening. It had come out mere hours before I had even checked to see if it existed. And I'm like, okay, gotta do it. Gotta grab this DLC. Gotta get in. Gotta play it. And I have mixed feelings, generally positive about it. Like, just first and foremost, like, I like genuinely really love the story of that DLC. Like, the actual writing itself is sincerely impeccable, and not just in a way that, like, I have found the rest of the writing in Fire Emblem Engage to be like super like tedious and like really annoying. Like, it's not good by comparison of Fire Emblem Engage. It's like good on its own merits, and that's what's really cool about it. what I have not enjoyed is the are the missions themselves. Like they're like totally fun. Like the scenarios themselves are fine. I've been playing through on hard mode. I haven't been playing on maddening because I only did maddening in 3 houses on like multiple playthroughs because it was like, okay, I already played this game on hard. I might as well like bump it up and see where it goes. I see Lorelai is getting maddened right now.
Maddening. I genuinely think this is the best Fire Emblem maddening mode has been.
Interesting.
Like, I have been super enjoying it on maddening. I think it like everything having fixed growth, things like that, so you know how characters are going to build out. Is kind of nice, so you can like set which characters you want to be your mains right from the start. And oh boy, like yeah, it's a challenge, but once you get certain characters built out, they are so fucking broken.
Yeah.
Like
I think that's sort of like the like initial, like I don't want to say issue I have with Fire Emblem, because I feel like Fire Emblem Engage is designed in such a way that it is inherently about a certain style of play, which is I need to pick the like small handful of characters that I like, and I need to 100% stick with them the entire time, because if I level up any other characters, then it's basically useless otherwise. Like, and it's like I just don't enjoy playing tactical RPGs that way. I like playing tactical RPGs like building out an entire army, like getting like 30 different characters and all trying to make each of them their own unique, distinct character.
oh yeah, like and I mean that's part of why I loved the initial like Awakening and previous Fire Emblem games is there was well, like Awakening and stuff was really the first time you could like super hardcore grind an entire army up. Like before that, you always had there were ways to do it, but they were, it's still mostly do the map, move on in the story.
Yeah. I found it very
which is
possible
kind
to
of
do it in 3 houses. In this, well, I haven't played maddening on this, but like playing it on hard mode has even itself been a challenge to like level up a bunch of guys. And it's like, and the DLC in this doesn't like do that. The DLC is specifically you have a set group of characters, and those characters have set levels, and those levels and stats all like 100% are fixed, and they carry and they get higher, but they get higher the same. They level up, like, your characters don't level up during missions. It's like in this mission they start at level 5, and in this mission they start at level 8, and like I found that very annoying from my own perspective, because like the way that this gets tolerable to me is like, oh, I'm usually going into these things under leveled, but I at least have like 1 or 2 characters that are like comparatively over leveled, or like I still have the feeling of I'm able to level past a lot of the major like difficulty points. I don't ever like go out and, I mean, I guess I'm grinding. Like I found Fire Emblem Engage lately to be like a game I pick up, play a couple missions, and like listen to podcasts too. Because it's relatively good for that, and it like that is grinding, I guess. But like my intention is not, oh, I need to grind several levels up so I can get past this mission. It's just like the leveling curve works in the favor of the player in such a way that like you can level past these things if you really need to. And having the completely fixed levels and fixed stats has made the DLC missions themselves super, super difficult in a way like I really didn't enjoy very much. I like I think I like the scenarios themselves. I think they're interesting scenarios, but it just felt so overwhelming at times. I played through, there's 6 missions in total. I played through the first 5 on hard, and like I definitely beat my head against it a good amount, where I'm just like, wow, this is really annoying. It's really annoying that like I have to use up a like a redo because this guy had a 1% crit chance and managed to crit one of my guys and one hit kill them, which like is the kind of thing that happened more times than it should have.
Yeah.
And it's like I'll say, like, to the favor of this game, you can save scum in this game. Like, you can save during missions and load during missions, which is helpful if you're like trying to manage the amount of redos you have, or like saving at checkpoints. But I just don't like I don't find that an interesting way of playing tactical RPGs. But like the way I find interesting is less conducive to that style of play, because it's like, if I fail, I like to go back to the beginning and redo. But in this, like, in these versions of this, in these, like, in the difficulty of these missions, like, I'm spending, like, several hours, like, 3 hours, something like that, a really long amount of time in a mission. And then, like, something goes wrong, and I realize, oh, if I want to fix this, if I want to make sure this doesn't happen, I need to go back several turns in a way like the time crystal won't even rewind to. So I basically fucked it. Or like I'll get to a point where it's like, oh, I literally can't win this because my time crystal doesn't have any more charges in it. And it's like, that's a bummer. That's like hours of my life just wasted. I gotta like do that over again. Now, I've heard that you would probably consider me a baby scrub because you did play through this on Maddening?
Yeah, I genuinely think this has been the best that Maddening has been.
Okay.
Like, because everything is, like, every character has fixed stat growth. So there is no, hey, I just leveled up and got jack shit, or a garbage level. You know what you're getting.
It's just out of sight, out of mind. But like, it still feels like you're under the level you need to be to me.
And I mean, and that's one of the things I like about this game is like, in previous ones, I wanted to get all my characters so fucking powerful that, you know, you could. But in this one, the fact that you can re-level a class, you can just use a thing to send a class back to level 1.
Right.
Or what, you know, you don't have to shift through 10 different jobs or whatever. You can just keep overpowering in the thing that you want. So it's the first time in a Fire Emblem game where you don't upgrade your character all the way at level 20. Or 30 if it's one of your main things. You just upgrade to the advanced class as soon as you get the last ability, which is always at level 10.
But the abilities don't carry over. You're basically... They do? What?
You can bring them over.
It's not on the... I'm pretty sure it's not on the character.
Yeah, you attach them, essentially.
Okay.
You could still have
I'll have
access
to look into
to
that.
So you get the ones that you want, and then you just upgrade your character, which is always as soon as you have the ability to do the upgrade, you just do it. Rather than, because you aren't getting any good stat growth from everything. And then there are things like some of the characters, like Anna has a ridiculous magic growth stat.
It is really high for some reason.
He's actually like the most powerful mage character in the game.
Interesting.
Like by miles.
I've been using her as a sniper, and like I'll keep the radiant bow on her, which does magic attack. So like she has the capacity to either deal like a really not so crit attack with a killer bow, or a radiant bow attack, and either of those are like guaranteed to murder.
Yeah, like she was my carry through a lot of stuff.
I didn't use her that much, but I started using her more because she has the only ability in the game that lets you earn money.
Yeah,
And money is important.
she is extremely fucking cracked. Like just overpowered beyond belief. My name brain isn't working right now, but the thief that you get at the start,
Yunaka?
yes, Yunaka is ridiculously overpowered as you level up, like depending on what emblem you have her engaged with. Like she just can't get touched and crits everything. And it's just like, you could just send her into the middle of a room filled with things that are 5 levels above her, and she'll just kill all of them with counterattacks. It feels really fucking good when you get that shit built right. And I feel like maddening, a lot of my time was spent using the Pegasus Knight you get at the beginning.
Chloe.
Yes, Chloe is ridiculously good. As long as you keep her away from archers, just annihilates everything as you level up. Like there's just a lot of stuff that was just like strategically like maddening difficulty. I was finishing stages in 5 or 6 turns towards the end because I had built everything out right. And I just really liked the feel of feeling underpowered, but also feeling overpowered at the same time.
Yeah, there's sort of like, aside from your tanks, there's like a glass cannon vibe to all of your characters.
Yeah.
Like obviously your tanks are gonna absorb them, and it's weird because it's like, oh, I pretty much need to have this kind of class in order to actually do anything in most if not all missions. So like I now, by virtue of this being by virtue of like this being a game where I want to level up a bunch of different characters, I have now 6 different armored characters. Four of them generals, 2 of them great knights. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. Like my whole like leveling strategy has been like to sort of maximize stat gains, and I put Star Sphere and SP conversion on. I put Star Sphere on every character because that's aside from the 1500 SP cost it takes to get it, it is like absurdly easy to get. You just got to get to level 5 with Tiki. So that's like a couple. That's like 400 bond fragments. It's nothing. So I put that on basically every character. I put lineage on all of them as well, so they all get extra experience. But I swapped lineage out with SP conversion to actually start getting them to gain SP, because like the sort of like SP growth in this game is super low. Like it's very it's very much around. It's very much built around the like the idea of the sort of idea of, I have these set characters. I pretty much know exactly what build I want to do with them. Which, as someone who likes a more traditional RPG, who wants like a bunch of different skills so I can experiment around and try different things and different combinations, it's like the entire thing becomes a hypothetical min-maxing game, and like I just kind of don't find that super appealing. So that's why, like, when it comes to actually acquiring skills, the ones I've acquired are specifically for stat growth and leveling up faster, because it's like, well, at least I know I have material gains from this, and because of that, all my characters generally have pretty high stats. It's made Vander extremely good. Like he's like going back to the DLC real quick, like the fact that there are fixed levels in this, excuse me, the fact that there are fixed levels in this means like the stats are fixed as well. So some characters are just flat out useless. Like Vander's stats are absurdly low compared to every other character because he's balanced in such a way in the main game that like you sort of need to level him up more than other characters to get him sort of on the same like level, like the same like scale like of power. And like it works out really well when you finally get there, but it's like it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to make him work. I think he's great, and I think he's extremely strong when you actually get him there. But because of that, his stats are dirt shit in the fixed level missions. Like they're like he's like a 70 overall when everyone else is like at around like 120-ish. You know, it's sad. Like I like Vander. He's a cool old guy. I want him to be able to thrive.
You want your gilf to do well.
And like that's sort of been my like I don't want to say problem with the DLC missions because like again I think they're all very interesting scenarios, but like because of the sort of like the fixed levels, the fixed stats and everything, it becomes all about like, okay, what minor things can you actually carry over from the main game? You can carry over your emblems and their bond levels and any skills you've gotten from those. So it's like, it's all about, okay, did I make a really good build for these characters based on their skills? Like guess what? My Star Sphere lineage combination is literally useless in these missions.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't do anything. So, and because because like the only characters I have like that have any skills on them are like relatively small or something, like those characters just really didn't have much going on from them other than like their base kits. So and like anyone that I didn't already have a like maxed out emblem bond with, that was also like, okay, well I kind of can't use you because I need the extra stats from a maxed out bond. And like it was super painful trying to like bring these characters into this. Like I bet the curve is way better when you have a way better like when you have a way more considered team. But like, you know, I wasn't the only person feeling this way. Like I started searching around online and other people are like, yeah, these missions are extremely hard, like in a way that like the rest of this game has not been. So like this was the first time I ever bumped the difficulty down because the final mission, I kept getting into scenarios where it's like, oh, if I like the fact that I can't fix this situation here means my entire team gets wiped after like hours of playing, and that's a bummer. I had beat my head against the final mission like multiple times, and then I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna switch it down to normal. And it's like the switch from hard mode to normal of this like final DLC mission turned it from okay, this mission is like kind of impossible, and now it is dirt easy and I'm steamrolling everything, and that just kind of doesn't feel great. Like I don't love to steamroll. Like I want to have a challenge, but the sort of difficulty that's being presented here is so overwhelming that it feels bad. Like
normal difficulty in Engage is a fucking joke. It might as well just be casual easy.
It was
or whatever they call the super easy version is. Like part of like I started on normal, and part of why I went to maddening like was just like the game was a joke, like a complete joke from start to finish. Like I put in no effort and beat the game, and I was just like, well, that sucked. And then I was just like, well, I'm going to go maddening instead of hard.
Mm-hmm.
I usually do maddening after I've beaten it on hard, but I was just like, I'm just going to go straight there.
Sure.
And I got the most enjoyable Fire Emblem experience I've had since Awakening. Like,
That's nice.
and like, since, like, it's legitimately like from a Fire Emblem gameplay perspective, it is my favorite of these games that I have played.
Nice. Like I've
only in maddening difficulty.
I've considered maybe doing a maddening run, but I'm also like the reason I played through three houses so many times is like, oh, there are these different scenarios. I get to like see different things, and also as a result of that, I'm bumping up the difficulty because I want to like I just want to like I already understand this game. I want to like get more out of it, you know?
Yeah.
I don't think like I'll get much out of replaying Engage. Like it is one fixed story. It only goes one way. Like it would just be for the sake of like replaying the game.
Challenge.
Yeah.
And it was like I really enjoyed my initial playthrough. Like I thought about doing a playthrough where I just get every single character overpowered as shit on hard difficulty.
That's basically what I'm doing.
But the way paralogs, every time you do one, they go up by one level, regardless of what kind it is. So I started doing that on normal. And by the time I got to the end of the game, I was doing every paralog that popped up. By the time I got to the end of the game, paralogs were essentially impossible for new characters to participate in because they were literally leveled for like level 70 characters, pretty much. Like somebody who has respect like multiple times. And it was just like, oh, this is like actually really bad how you're doing this.
I'm sort of having that problem now, having finished the DLC and getting all of the new characters. Like, oh, all of these characters come in at level 20, and everyone I have is at level 40, like between level like 37 and 40-ish right now, and a couple that are higher. So it's like, I don't know how I'm gonna level these guys. So I'm just like,
can't take. Well, I mean, you'll have to take them into the whatever the last main story quest is, because otherwise you have no options. Because
I've been managing to level them up. What was I saying? Oh no, I've been bringing them into skirmishes, and they've just been like, I've been like keeping them in the back lines, like letting them do things like healing, taking any kill that they're pretty much confirmed to kill, and I've been getting them up to reasonable levels, and they're pretty quickly they're it feels like they're faster than usual, getting leveled up quicker than they probably would be if they were if they were like in the main game along with the rest of them. But like it is kind of weird that they would just drop those characters in underleveled for you, because there's definitely a moment where it's like, this might be bad. Like
I mean, you're supposed to hit all the DLC when you're around level 10.
Yeah, I did it literally before the final missions.
So yeah, like I because all those DLC missions are like all the ones for emblems and whatnot were based around level 10 characters. So you go in there at like 3/4 the way through, because I was going in as they unlocked, like as the DLC came out, and I was always like 20 levels too high, and all the enemies are still level fucking 10.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, oh, this not good.
Yeah, when I did the paralogs, I did them pretty much as soon as they were available, like at the beginning of the game, because like, oh, I don't have any emblems yet. Here's some missions I could play that I could get emblems. They're all side missions because they're all DLC. Like, I might as well jump into them. And some of them were unbelievably hard. Camilla's mission in particular at like the level I was playing it at, which was like level 10 or something, like level 7, something really low, was like almost impossible. Like it got to a point where there was a line like towards the end where Camilla's like, "Oh, sometimes I get ahead of myself and I might accidentally try to kill you." And it's like, "Yeah, you sure fucking did." Like,
yeah.
I'm trying to have fun with you, Camilla.
What the fuck?
What the hell, Camilla? Yeah. I'm at the ass end of this game. I'm ready to finish it, and I think when I finish it, I'll put it down, but still probably use it as a podcast game. I don't know if I'm gonna do a maddening run, but like I don't know, like part of me is excited to finish it, but like I would be sad losing like just like an easy game to play and not think very much, you know?
Yeah.
I have to go find another one of those.
Like, and I really do feel like this one, like, I want them to come back to the combat design of this game, but with the writing of the more current ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's
well, not Three Houses, but
you're a monster.
You know,
you're
Awakening.
You're reprehensible.
I'm sorry. I opened with Crimson Flower, and that is the worst written game I've ever played.
What are you talking about?
It makes fucking Identity Crisis look like a good story.
What are you talking about?
I'm sorry. Her entire thing is, I'm doing this evil shit to stop these Nazi Illuminati fuckers, and then she does nothing about them.
She does do things about them. It's just after the story. It literally happens after the story.
Yeah, after the story.
Okay, here's the thing. I think there's something to be said about this idea of working alongside people like whose interests sort of align with your own, but like are obviously like evil, and like that's something that goes unaddressed, because I think that is a valid criticism of Edelgard as a character, and I think it works. I do agree with you that I think it's silly that actual like story resolution happens in an entirely different story, but the idea that Edelgard specifically wouldn't like she says that she says
through the story that she's gonna do something about it, and then doesn't do something.
And there is a line at the very end. There's a line at the very end that says, "And then she went and dealt with them." And it's like,
it's fucking bad.
That's not like.
It's fucking terrible.
But like, they're still dealt. Like, it is still something that is like, in Other Roots is actually like addressed, and like
in Other Roots that have decent writing.
It is something that is addressed like in the totality of the game, and that's like I don't necessarily think that's like an issue of bad writing. You know, I do I wish that was something that was like that was more of a focus of the Black Eagle storyline. Yeah, totally, 100%. But the fact that it is like not a complete like 100% like tossed out thing, and that it's focused in a different area, and that area of it like feels like it has more weight and significance because of it, especially because like, you know, Hubert is a character in that is like, hey, specifically, you guys need to go fucking deal with this because we can't do it because we got fucking annihilated, is like yeah, that feels very valid to me. Like, okay, we can't argue Three Houses. In terms of Fire Emblem writing, I just want to reiterate, the writing in this DLC, very, very good. I did not like the writing in Engage. I felt it was very tedious and ham-fisted. I felt like there were so many moments where just like a problem was introduced and then solved within like 2 minutes, in a way that's like, oh, you guys like just generally don't want any conflict at all. None of like the main character was super uninteresting to me. And I really didn't like how pretty much every single character, even like the villains, essentially sucked up to them at all times. Because like, yeah, she's basically Jesus. Happy Easter, y'all. But what I really liked about this DLC is you get in and pretty much immediately the characters are like, oh, god damn it, we got this person, Jesus Christ. And it's this like, this DLC introduces so much conflict in a way that is like deeply, deeply interesting. And it like introduces a whole bunch of really unique mysteries. And I feel like the resolution of it is really well handled, and like I think maybe could have been a little. I think like the actual like final parts of it probably could have been a little tighter, but like what it does in terms of like creating a very emotionally resonant story about found family is really cool to me. And it was this kind of scenario where it's like, man, I really wish the people who wrote this like wrote the rest of the game, you know?
Yeah, I genuinely don't think they were going for a deep story with this one. I genuinely think what they were doing was, hey, we want to get the people who played the gacha to play Fire Emblem.
Yeah, 100%.
And also we're going to have like most of our focus be on like map design and shit like that.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a vapidness to the like main story of Engage that makes like this DLC side story super like really appealing by comparison. And like I said before, it's very good on its own terms. I think. I don't know. What did you think of the story?
I haven't started that yet.
Oh, I thought you played through the DLC. I'm sorry.
No. I've been playing the main game on. I played the main game on Maddening. I haven't gotten to the DLC yet because I've been moving.
Right. Okay. So I am very interested in hearing what your DLC takes are on the difficulty. Then
I am excited for that because it sounds like that last level is made of hell.
Oh, it's quite horrible. But yeah, it's a great, really. It's the kind of thing where it's like, man, I really wish I could recommend this piece of content outside of the game it's in, because I genuinely feel like it's really good.
But yeah, like when it comes to like the stage design, this is the most I've enjoyed it since the Birthright. No, which one was the one where you were Nor in the bad Fire Emblem story game? With
Nor? Fates?
Yeah, Fates. The one where you sided with the bad guys and you got really, really well designed stages all throughout. Like the combat design was so much better than the other sides. Like one way you played through felt like classic Fire Emblem. The other felt like Awakening with a bad story.
Mm-hmm.
But like I really like the stage design, and that's like why I love Engage and going back to it.
Sure.
It's not for the story.
I genuinely can't wait for you to play the DLC,
and it definitely ain't for the story.
I can't wait for you. I can't wait for you to play the DLC because I think you are really gonna love it.
Yeah.
Awesome. I see you also put down Final Fantasy 14 Fishin' and Clubbin'.
Look, I'm hanging out in the club right now. But no, like part of what I love about, like, I've been playing like ever since, especially since I got my computer hooked back up, and even when it was all unplugged, like one of my favorite things to do in 14 now is just go to a fucking nightclub with a disco floor, put on one of the, like, there are a lot of really talented DJs now. Like when I first did RP shit like years ago, like people's idea of music would just be putting on a YouTube playlist. Hey, go to our sync tube and fucking listen to the music we set up, and it was always hot garbage. But now you have people who like used to open for Deadmau5 and shit, who were like professional DJs. Like during COVID, we're like, we can't do shows. What can we do? So they just started doing it in Final Fantasy 14.
Nice.
And it kind of fucking rules, just listening to good music selection. And I don't think I really appreciated DJs until I like remembered a couple of songs I really liked that some of them played, and I put it on a Spotify playlist, and I was like, I'll just let Spotify put in things that are kind of like this. And it was like you had those 2 good songs, and then the rest was like fucking trash. You don't realize how talented DJs are at putting together a like 2-hour listenable set. Until you let Spotify take control and do, hey, these are like that. No, it's hot shit, garbage. It's like, no, I just want to go hang out with Swage. And then I've also been fishing for like 20 hours.
Of course.
Like
fishing and farming. That's what we do here at the video game Choo Choo.
I wanted to do something that wasn't raiding because raiding had fucking massively burned me out. Like, the last tier of the raids are the worst they've ever been, and I genuinely started to hate playing the game. And it was only like over the last few weeks where I finally came back, and like a lot of that was like, you know, when Chorby was asking me to get footage for the Game of the Year most disappointing thing, I couldn't even bring myself to log into the game to do it. Like, I legitimately was was dreading the idea of even logging into 14, which, you know, kind of sucks because it's like where a lot of my friend group were hanging out and whatnot, but I just didn't want to anymore because raiding made me hate the fucking game so much. And like, it took me coming back and finding things like, you know, a lot of my friends did the club scene, which is like the amazingly weird ways people build houses. Like, they figured out how to like put things in places so you'll go stand a place and you'll jump and you'll get teleported outside of their house into like a deep void, and they'll build an entire club in the void. And it's like the coolest shit ever. Like, the way people use tricks and glitches to like build wild houses.
Nice.
That are just fun to go in. I type /get fantasy and I do a ska dance.
I love to get fantasy.
And just listen to music and do work. And it's actually made me like 10 times more productive because I'm just AFK listening to music, but like actually working on like comic book projects and things like that I've got in the works again. And it's been nice. Or the last few days unpacking my house.
Nice.
Yeah.
Maverick, what you got on your hat?
It's a logo for a now defunct Let's Play series.
Show me. Zoom in. Enhance.
Is that showing? Hold on.
Enhance. That's pretty good.
It's the Liars Club.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's a shame they all died in a horrible accident.
Yeah, it really sucks about what happens to the Liars Club.
Yeah. But I know, I was gonna say, like, any people managing to DJ in FF14, I give them credence, and especially if it means other people are learning about how to capture a vibe in a digital setting, because as someone that at least tried to do that for the occasional college party, it is a thankless job. I wouldn't even call myself a full-on DJ, mind you. I am not going to call myself that. But to sit there in charge of like the one Bluetooth speaker, having to just think, okay, what's good, what's setting the vibe, what are people interested in, and like getting requests are bullshit. Anyone that should ask for requests should choke rather than be given what they want, because they don't understand the purpose of the party.
Yeah.
But also, yeah, like it gives you an appreciation for just like the way that people are able to figure out that transition between songs.
Like the way they like fade from one song to the next. Like have soundboards with all the ridiculous shit that they can like mix into a song to make it like better. Is just like I had never like appreciated what a DJ did until I experienced like someone doing it professionally. And even people who are, you know, just getting their start and learning are still better at putting together a set than Spotify or whoever has control of your speaker at a house party most of the time. Like part of the reason I'm really excited for FanFest coming up is a bunch of the like super professional DJs got a house and are putting together a house party for it. Like, and it's gonna be like, oh shit, I get to do this in real life and say hi to a whole bunch of really cool trans people.
Nice.
Because like half the like really, really good DJs are also trans, and it rules. Because it's like, it leads to, hey, I'm at a nightclub in a video game, and it's a trans-friendly place where if somebody says something fucked up, they're gonna get murdered on stream, and it rules.
Maverick, my friend.
Yes. Hello.
One Piece Odyssey. What is it?
It's an odyssey of how it got made, that's for sure.
Oh, whoa!
No, I'm not. I'm being too mean. So, One Piece Odyssey is a video game by Bandai Namco, and this is for all like it's a licensed game based on a popular series. I feel like to an extent you have to have some contention that, or you have to reckon with the fact that a licensed game probably is not going to be the like best light in which you like take in a property unless there is some thought put into the whole concept behind it, or like you can tell that there are people really dedicated putting together the overall experience. One Piece is a weird series that has had multiple of these tie-ins, and I don't want to say any of them are like, I can't say that they're all bad because I haven't played most of them, but a lot of them skew in this trend where you either have like the Muso variants, and literally is just a series of we're retelling the games, like the plot events of the manga through the actual Muso material, and then however far we get to, then we'll just fill up with scenarios or like other fun stuff. Very fan servicey in a way that, you know, is fine. I, for one, know that I don't particularly get a lot of energy out of the Muso format, but that's not to say that it's automatically a like detraction point. Like, it's fine. If it were not working, they wouldn't make 4 of them by now. And I think that's the part that I have to like remember. Like, if this thing wasn't working, they wouldn't be making more of it. And so there have been a lot of like open world games, a lot of like different attempts to get that going. We've yet to 1 or maybe like 4 fighting games, but each of like the arena fighter variety. We haven't had like a full-on 2D thing yet, which honestly, that would be the easiest cash cow yet. But
I'm sure it would be.
One Piece, honestly, like,
well, yeah, because those fighting games are like part of the like sort of arena battle genre. That's like weirdly, I don't know how popular it is, but it's definitely like if you have a shonen anime at all, you're gonna get an arena battle like type
Yeah.
of game, and it's like, man, it would be really cool if it was just like a 2D fighting game instead of
It would be
like,
really cool if it was just a 2D fighter and you
yeah,
just figured out like, okay, sure, I get
it
that a
worked
lot
for
of these
Dragon
powers
Ball.
They sell
really works for-
incredibly well.
It doesn't matter that some of these things are non-conventional. You can still figure out, okay, this guy's a grappler, this guy's a Shoto clone, this person can like be a heavier, like you can still do that. That is not limiting overall what you can do with the game. But just But One Piece Odyssey is an RPG, like a full-on JRPG, and the story basically is the crew finds themselves on a mysterious island inhabited by a girl and some guy that is sort of acting like a caretaker. This girl, her power, be it devil fruit or whatever else we don't really know yet, is she can take away people's power and turn it into cubes. And so
Cube power.
they get cube power. They get cubed, the whole gang, and they try and figure out how to get the cubes back. And I'm at the point where they have some big cubes back, and it's like, oh, you can't just like absorb these. You got to work through the memory that is associated with this. And so now I'm getting to what I assume is the main conceit of the game, which is each of these big blocks are essentially you revisiting an old saga of the from however far back they decide to go. These currently start off in Alabasta, and as I immediately picked up, because the game itself starts off with spoilers, I guess, for One Piece, if you care and are like not already looking at this. But 3, 2, 1. You start off the game with like all of your crew aside from Jinbei, so that is 8 of your whole 9 crewmates. The 9th one getting added back in like 2019, technically. Whole lot, but basically, like that gives you, for people that know, that gives you the time frame on what we're working with. For story purposes, you don't get access to Frankie and Brooke just yet, and you start off in Alabasta, which means like, oh, okay, so for this stretch of the journey, you're only going to be working with Luffy, Nami, Sanji, Zoro, and Chopper and Usopp. So 6 of your overall cast. People that were already there, and for other plot reasons, like Robin is like, oh, I can't be here. I was bad during this part. And we're all like, damn, you were bad, Robin. But like for parts of the plot, she'll just be like, oh, let me hide off because memories are happening. Like you're in the events of Alabasta is essentially what's going on. And you have to play those events out, and then eventually you will get to the next memory, which I assume is going to be like Water 7, and then you'll get to, like, if I had to make any assumptions about this game with the little that I've played, you'll get through Alabasta, Water 7, you'll probably do a bit of Impel Down, where everyone is just going to kind of sing like Luffy's whole deal since they weren't there for that. You'll have Fisherman Island again, probably Punk Hazard, but I'd be surprised if they even model like an actual render for Kinemon, since he gets involved with a lot of this shit and then doesn't really show up again. But I assume the ending is going to be some amalgamation of it all. Maybe you'll see Dressrosa, maybe we'll see Whole Cake Island. I don't fucking know. The game itself plays fine. Like, I like the idea that they're going with for the actual gameplay, where essentially you get into a random encounter and you have the battle screen where essentially each enemy will sort of like pick one or a group of people to focus on, and your party is essentially locked in, where if there's already a battle going on, like let's say 2 of your characters are in battle with someone immediately, like an enemy immediately attacking them, they are stuck fighting that enemy until they beat it. If there's another enemy picking out another group, they're stuck there until that enemy can be beaten. You might have 2 characters who are sort of like out in the periphery, who can then choose to like get into the battle any other way. You have the ability to switch out members at all times, which is also a nice addition. And your turn is more or less like there's no direct turn order associated, but it's much more like, okay, you know, during your round layout, you can choose one of the 4 people in play to like have their move go, and then if an enemy needs to attack or whatnot, it goes to them. Then you come back here. All right, choose the next person in your rotation to go and get into the mix. It doesn't feel restrictive, which I like about any JRPG that still chooses to use turn-based combat. Like, you know how to have it work out. This could have easily been an action RPG, and the fact that they chose not to, I appreciate. Not only for the like, people immediately be like, oh, you know, it's like a Dragon Quest or whatever. This feels more like wanting to take inspiration from current generation JRPGs, like current generation turn-based mechanics, where it's not necessarily like a back and forth like at all times. You have the option to vary up your play a little bit. You have the option to lean into more of a like taking advantage of either like typing like advantages where each character and enemy is on that triangle of like, are you power, speed, or technique? And each one, like, power beats out speed, speed beats out technique, technique beats out power. Figure out that quick little rock, paper, scissors, and that'll enhance the moves that you can do each game. You also have some elemental attacks associated, but it's not even like that important. It's like, oh, you know, if this is an ice enemy, beat it with fire. Fire enemies, beat them with thunder, or whatever. Like, complicated enough that it adds an extra layer to what's going on, but it never feels overtly complicated that you can ever like get in or just like get lost in the minutia of it.
Okay. I want to see if I can actually find some gameplay in this video, because like I'm just seeing a clearly cartoony Nami running around with what looks like Unreal Engine lighting. So
yeah.
It does feel like they hired this man.
That's about what you're getting.
Yeah, let me.
It is funny how they do the crosshatch on the boob, and then.
Oh, there's so. Yeah. This is my fault for putting in a
17-hour
video. It's pretty hard to zoom in on things. Weirdly enough. You know, I don't know if I'm gonna find gameplay. Oh, look at them! They're having fun. They're eating. Look at, he's got 2 big old meat chunks.
That's a proper Luffy meat chunking.
You can camp. No one told me you can camp. Okay. Oh, there's a scorpion. Go run up to a scorpion. No. Okay, well, go find Chopper, I guess.
You gotta go find Chopper.
You had to switch to Chopper so you could get through a smaller thing. Oh, there's a guy. That guy's walking around. Come on,
fight the guy.
Kick his ass. Oh.
This is probably like a New Game Plus run made entirely to like
skipping everything.
Yeah, I think run through everything.
My guess is that you can only be Chopper in this section, so you probably don't want to go and get into battles.
Yeah, Frankie could build a bridge there.
Frankie could build a bridge here.
So I'm gonna switch to Frankie. I'm gonna keep running into the bridge.
No,
and not switch to Frankie.
Oh, I need you to run into this big guy with the knife. Oh, you're getting chased. I don't think he's gonna do combat. He did find a poisoned burr chestnut.
I mean, that's a
Robin's
little
cube
thing.
Fragment.
Oh shit!
I love to find Robin's
fragments.
Cube. Yeah.
When you get the cubes, then you power up. Those act as sort of like a power up for particular attacks, which mainly just comes down to like area of effect or actual like output damage. Again, I don't think it's bad. I probably am gonna get through more of it. I might even beat it since it is pretty straightforward. There's some side quests, but I'm definitely not compelled to do all of them. I don't know. It's this weird thing where, from my tone about everything, I probably would say I'm disappointed in this game, but then I also don't know what I was expecting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that feels unfair to this game if I'm coming in kind of like, well, I guess I'll get through and play this when I didn't even know what I wanted out of it.
Right.
Yeah.
It threw a damn
Because I
cube at
sure as hell
that
don't know what
guy.
I want out of the One Piece game. Maybe I do just want fighters, but it's One Piece characters. Maybe that's all I want.
That could be good.
One Piece Pirate Warriors 3. That game fucking ruled.
I have it downloaded on my Switch, and it sure is good. Like, for me, it's the fact that I do kind of know everything already, and it is hard for me with a series like that to go back to it unless I'm doing like a full-on dedicated like reread of the entire series.
I think that's why I liked Pirate Warriors 3, because it wasn't a, hey, this is a story you've already heard before. Rather than like 1 and 2, which were, let's just go through the story of One Piece and have a relatively okay Muso.
Yeah, this sort of format seems really ripe for like side stories where you could just like do cool and unique things with them, especially if you're going to put them in video games.
And it's kind of what I hate is that they keep going like, let's rehash the past.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, it's an interesting take, having let's rehash the past with everyone remembering it and them going, oh yeah, I remember this, but it's like, that's not what I want from a game like this. I want something new.
Yeah, and again, it's like I can't feel upset, especially because like the way that they're going about it is like, oh, let's go relive all these moments, but you know, very much in like recollection of it all, or just like a fun stroll down memory lane, I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't know. This feels like something, and this is my theory just about a lot of current One Piece spin-off material, like the latest movie and stuff like it, where this feels more like Eiichiro Oda like having an idea already, and rather than like not throw it away entirely, now that like we more or less know what the series is en route to for ending, is more like, oh, let's put it in for a side thing. Let's put it in for a like one-off chance, so that way it can still like exist as an idea rather than just like get shelved forever. Because it feels like there's enough like meat in there that it doesn't just feel like a wave away of whatever is happening.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'll walk, don't run.
they're hitting these big ass lizards. They're playing as
some big ass lizards.
They're playing as Robin. You said Robin wasn't playable. She's right there.
Oh no! You can control each of like the characters in the overworld.
Oh,
I'm
just saying her for some reason.
No, you can. What I was making fun of was the fact that in this first world, Alabasta, she is like in canon a villain during that saga.
Yeah.
So here, as her part of the team, she's like, I should probably maybe not be around because people know me here, and not in the best way.
Sure.
But then I assume that the next world will be like Skypiea, which, yeah, you'll be using her.
Gotcha.
And then she'll be out again for Water 7 and Enies Lobby. But then back again, well, maybe. Again, I have no idea where exactly those like other memory points are going to come in, but I assume it'll be in a way where, all right, here's everyone right after we crossed the Grand Line.
Gotcha.
And then we'll add back in Robin. Then we'll add back in Frankie, and then we'll add back in Brooke, and then you'll have the whole team again.
Okay. All right.
Is what I assume.
Makes sense. Makes sense to me. All right.
Yeah.
I'm ready to move on to news.
I'm more than ready.
Yep.
You're done with One Piece.
I would never say that. Are you kidding me? New One Piece is going to be crazy good this week. I'm going to go read the new chapter right now.
Sony, welcome to the news. If you're here with us, you're here to listen to some news. Sony has unveiled their new a new handheld called the Q
God,
Lite.
I still can't believe this.
It is remote play with PS5, not cloud streaming. PS5 required to use. 1080p, 60 FPS streaming. Prototype has 8-inch screen and adaptive triggers with haptic feedback. It will not have its own games.
It's so fucking stupid. Why does this exist?
It's they've been trying to push like the idea of a PS5 remote play thing for a while now. I remember that being very possible with like you could do the PS4 and Vita, linking them up together.
Yeah.
And you can also remote play like PS4 and PS5 stuff directly to a PC.
Yeah.
So like, you know, it's flexible. So I understand where they're coming from with the idea of let's like put out a thing that supports that entirely so you can like play your PS5 games on the go. That's not what people want. People want a good Vita. If the Steam Deck has taught us anything, it's that people want stuff to put in their hand and play. But I guess like in a Steam Deck heavy market right now, where the only competition is like the Switch, and the Switch has its own library that makes it viable, like what are you gonna do other than this?
And I'm sorry, remote play from a distance is fucking garbage.
It's not good. It's not good at all.
It's not even great when you're on the same network and one of the things is going wirelessly.
Yeah. So
like
what I've heard what works really well with like Steam Deck remote play specifically is like if your PC is on a wired connection, then that actually really helps with wireless remote play. Like it's like genuinely like is what am I trying to say? It's
not
like
bad. I've done it.
It's way more consistent than if like your PC is also on Wi-Fi, even if you have good Wi-Fi. But it's deeply silly that they think like what people want is a
remote play machine.
Yeah, I don't want to play my PS5 that badly. I hardly play it as is. I don't want to play it when I'm away from it.
I'm not gonna remote play Neo 2.
No, probably not.
No, I'll just load up my Steam Deck, where Neo 2 actually runs better than the PC version does on Steam.
Oh boy, I feel like I'm gonna butcher these names. I'm so sorry. Tsunekaze Ishihara and Harukazu. Oh, I highlighted that while I was reading it, so it just pulled a big pop up right on top of the name. That's what happens. Tsunekaze Ishiharu and Harukazu Tanaka have stepped down as CEO and president of Creatures Inc. The new president and CEO is Yuji Kitano, with Tomotaku Kimura as executive vice president. From what I understand, Hirokazu Tanaka was like very deeply respected as part of Creatures. It's like I don't know how much more we really have to say on this other than like Creatures is a big part of the Pokemon games, specifically I believe the card games.
Yes, they manage the TCG.
Yeah. So, you know, it's change in leadership. Who knows what that means? It's news. We reported it. They're gone. New people stepped in. Speaking of people leaving, the Stadia boss, Phil Harrison, has left Google.
Why? After his great success?
Phil Harrison is apparently no longer an employee at Google, according to business journalism outlet Insider. The now former vice president and general manager of Google Stadia quietly exited the company after the cloud-based platform shut down in January. No details were shared about the circumstances of Harrison's departure.
I
think-
wonder if he got a job at Sony and went, "Hey, I've got a really good idea for a handheld. We should make something that you can play games on the go through the internet."
Oh no. Here's the thing: is it doesn't sound like the Vita 2. The Q Lite, as it's called. That's what they're calling their new the sort of like code name right now for the new handheld. It doesn't sound like that's actually going to use, or at least I can't imagine why they wouldn't do this, but it doesn't. They didn't mention anything off the bat of it utilizing any of Sony's like game streaming stuff. It seems like that's what you would want to do if you were in Sony's position. But also that stuff got relegated to being part of PS Plus, so who fucking knows? Crusader Kings 3 expansion adds jousting tournaments, kingdom tours, and grand weddings. This expansion is, of course, called Tours and Tournaments. You can go, you can do falconry hunting. You can tour the dangerous wilds of your kingdom. I like Crusader Kings 3 a lot, and I really am just excited about them adding even more weird scenarios. I really like when
I'll get back to it at some point.
Yeah, I feel like we're gonna have another moment where like literally 5 of us are all playing it all at once again.
If I can own it this time, then totally.
Well, we'll re-download the Tony Hawk mod. This one's exciting. Monster Energy Drinks has decided to put out some legal complaints, the Japanese Trademark and Patent Office, about games including the word monster in their titles, including both Pokemon and Monster Hunter, claiming there can be confusion with them. This doesn't just affect the Pokemon and Monster Hunter franchises. Apparently, this sort of like very general like this very general like patent trolling has also extended to indie games as well. The game Monsters and Mortals is affected by that as well. It's so silly that like they would even attempt to do this at all. Like, they're not gonna win this case. Like, they're not gonna get Pokemon to change their name.
As far as I believe, it's already been thrown out.
Yeah.
As far as I can tell.
It's deeply silly. Harada just came out and tweeted that Tekken 8 is gonna have crossplay.
Wow. I wonder if it will be as poorly implemented as their rollback netcode.
Oh boy. Ugh.
I mean, I still need confirmation on there being rollback netcode, Harada.
Tekken 7's rollback. Tekken 7 has rollback, and it is literally the worst in the industry.
Is that it's now implemented, or
it has been implemented for a long time, and delay based would be better.
Weird, strange rumor to come out of an internal that came out of an internal Sega Japan meeting. There was a small leak that contained a very short video, which, like, you know, obviously a video deck from a meeting from 2021, which included footage of both a supposed Persona 3 remake, some early footage of Sonic Frontiers, because this was in 2021, and also a possible new Jet Set Radio game. This is just a rumor, obviously. We don't know if this is going to become anything, but it is, you know, the quality of it is such that it's like, oh, this this could be anything. This is fucking
Jet
strange.
Set Radio Pachinko, baby.
It's so weird to like remake specifically Persona 3, but you know what? Good on them. You know, some people like Persona 3. I'm sure.
Honestly, it's the one that could use a remake more than any of the others because Persona 3 Portable actually fucking sucks.
Yeah, I've heard
Well,
like
it does have woman, which we can't throw it entirely out.
Woman that can date child.
See, who am I to deny women their agency?
Yeah, who knows what that's gonna be? It is silly that like we're probably gonna have another new like conversation about which of these versions is going to be the definitive version, considering each one is probably, you know, gonna be flawed in some way, especially if you're doing if you're doing a ground up remake of Persona 3. I'm sure there's some stuff that's gonna be on the cutting room floor, but who knows?
Yeah, no, the definitive version is you can emulate Persona 3 FES at this point.
Of course. Last week I was just moving on.
Yeah.
Quick rumor, this is a quick hit. We're doing nothing but quickies here. We're getting it done with news. Last week, Microsoft removed emulators from the Microsoft Store on Xbox Series X/S. I honestly wasn't even aware that emulators were like available. I knew like some people were.
If you were in developer mode,
yeah,
you could download emulators and shit. Yeah,
but they were quietly removed. And this week, Microsoft revealed that they've gone out of their way to say, hey, Nintendo is not the reason we removed these emulators. The information currently circulating on Twitter is not accurate. Our actions are based on a long-standing policy on content distributed to the store to ensure alignment with our Microsoft Store policies. Per 10.13.10, products that emulate a game system or game platform are not allowed on any device family that is from Microsoft directly. I genuinely had no idea this stuff was available. Like, I guess it makes sense if you're a developer trying to develop things, but it seemed pretty easy. Like, it seemed comparatively easy to just be able to switch that on compared to having a dev kit. I don't know. It's strange. Strange situation. Nintendo apparently is not the reason. They just did it on their own, or maybe they're just saying that to ensure a long-standing business relationship. Last news story here. There's a new Overwatch 2 character named Lifeweaver who's been announced. And if you're like me, you are probably wondering, hey, what massive news story are they trying to get ahead of by introducing a new Overwatch 2 character? Well, turns out it's because Activision Blizzard is being sued by the U.S. Justice Department for alleged antitrust violations related to Call of Duty and Overwatch esports leagues, including limiting competition and suppressing player wages.
We're so fucking back.
It's like clockwork. Like even if you're not following Overwatch stuff, it's like as soon as you see a new character, you're just like, you can just go, okay, you just search Activision Blizzard news, like Overwatch
what
news.
What fucked up thing is Bobby Kotick in charge of this time?
Oh, just
don't worry. This character sounds very pansexual.
They look very
They look very pansexual.
They truly do. I'm not trying to
They definitely fit the the diversity calculator chart as well as the fuckability.
Yeah,
I forgot
diversity chart.
I forgot about the diversity chart. Oh my god,
No, you can't forget.
he's got so
And
many.
they might even be part robot, which ups their diversity factor up.
And the fuckability factor.
I am not trying to disparage this character or their very
Diversity score.
or their diversity score, very specifically courting an audience that 100% would want to fuck a character like this.
It's not a bad character. It really is just like ever since you find out about the diversity calculator,
ability levels would be high.
It's so easy to see this. Like every single time one of these characters comes out now, it's so easy to see this thing and just see like, oh, here are all of the like really transparent, crass business decisions that went into making this character this way.
The day that like one of these doesn't coincide with another big Activision Blizzard update, like that'll be news.
Yeah.
God. Okay. Well, that's all we got on the news. Well, let's move on to questions. If you want to send us a question, you can always send it to videogamechoochoo.tumblr.com/ask. If you're here live with us on twitch.tv, you can post it in the chat and we'll probably answer it. But I'm just going to read from our ask box right now. And oh boy, we have a lot of questions. Okay, yeah, cool. That's good. I like that. Always good to get a lot of questions.
All right.
Our first question comes from Cello Buster, our friend Cello Buster. Cello Buster asks, with the success of the Mario and Tetris movies, we are clearly on the brink of a true video game movie renaissance. Who will you cast to play you in the video game Choo Choo biopic? Biopic. It's definitely biopic, right? Biopic? Biopic sounds like the phonetic, like, pronunciation, like how it's supposed to be, but it's really pronounced biopic, right? Am I crazy?
If you want to be.
Don't leave me hanging.
I believe technically the term is biopic, but biopic is also what might be used more often in like general conversation. But
who's playing Maverick?
My go-to is Pedro Pascal, but then I feel like I'm stealing Valor.
Who's Lorelai?
Whoever that like absolutely just fucking shredded lady is from the new season of The Mandalorian. I don't know her name, but she's fucking yoked and kind of rules.
This is the one not tied to like anti-vaxxer stuff, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they cast a new like absolutely shredded lesbian. And that rules.
Good for them. I'm glad.
That's my casting choice. Somebody who's shredded as hell and a lesbian.
Now, I have been compared to a good handful of different, let's say, celebrities who exist. I believe when I first met our buddy, former conductor on the video game Choo Choo, our good buddy Trex, they said that I looked like John Trump. And I still have taken that very personally.
Damn, just putting Trex on blast like this.
And I don't think that's who I would cast, not because I don't necessarily.
Your face is like a little more like squared out than John's. And also like you are able to carry a beard quite well.
I think I
would say Jason Schwartzman.
You know what? I really like that. I was about to like take a real swing and say I would really like Adam Sandler to try and capture my energy. especially like Uncut Gems era Adam Sandler, just like full unhinged, like ready to go the extra mile, you know?
Well, that's the thing, though. It's like I wouldn't say Scott video game Choo Choo is like a Barry, um, no, is not a Howard Ratner, nor is he in a similar like pull Barry from Punch Drunk Love. You definitely exude more of a Schwartzman personality. I
Sure.
would even go on to say a Luke Wilson vibe, even. Like there is a like coyness in which you deal with your sheer depravity of any situation that I think those two might be able to capture quite well.
You know, I think I would also like to be played by Larry David.
That would also be fun.
I would like that.
Get me Gael Garcia Bernal. Just fuck it.
Who would play John Machonsky?
Who would play John Machonsky? I want to say Ryan Gosling. Like here's the
Barbie
thing.
movie Ryan Gosling.
I watched The Nice Guys a while ago. I don't know if either of you have watched The Nice Guys.
I haven't watched The Nice Guys.
I highly recommend. Great. Russell Crowe, Ryan Gosling, both private eyes in the 70s, having to deal with one hell of a scandal that's cooking up. lot of fun, but there's a physicality to Gosling's character is just the shittiest private eye who has like screams and whatnot that I think is in line with John as, if I had to like imagine John as a character.
I can 100% see Ryan Gosling like getting the role of John on a page and being like, all right, this is a challenge I can undertake. Like I can see him getting into that character.
Yeah, no, like there is a genuine, I think, especially now as I like find myself re-listening to some of the episodes more often, there is such like a character to his delivery at points that it's like, no, I want someone that is able to get those like intricacies down, and I think it'd be him.
That's good. Yeah, who would play Rose?
Who would play Rose?
I really want to like know who would play Rose. Who would play Rose and who would play Elvie?
I would maybe give Rose to like Jenna Ortega.
Okay, all right.
Because I don't want to make a full-on comparison to like, she's the Wednesday of our group. No, but like there is I think it's specifically hearing Jenna Ortega talk about, like after the fact, how much she kind of disliked Scream 6 because of how much of a buff she is for the horror genre in general. Like,
I can see it.
The love for something to the point where you will not hesitate to like lambast something that goes against that. I think that is where that character could live.
So
and then Elvie,
here's my pitch for Elvie. Here's my pitch for Elvie being cast. Now, I don't want someone who's gonna like try and capture Elvie's energy. I want someone who's gonna bring their own energy to Elvie. Like, create a brand new Elvie. And what I'm thinking is, I would really like to see an Aubrey Plaza Elvie.
Oh my god.
A very distinct personality that Elvie has not personally shown before.
No, definitely not. That's different.
What about if we're doing everyone, we gotta hit Chorb and Skull.
We do gotta hit Chorb and Skull and Franny. Okay, Chorby. Our good buddy Solon.
I'm gonna just say real quick, my other option for Elvie might actually be, I would say Ellen Wong.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, I do not want to say LV has Knives Chow energy. That is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that I think I could see one of the paths for that kind of a character lead into who we know LV to be.
uh, well, if we're still going by Scott Pilgrim casting, I think it would be fun. Okay, do you think? Let's say we got Michael Cera on budget. We have him. He's locked. Do you think he would be better as Solon or as Skull?
I think he's the Skull.
Yes, exactly. I was so thinking like
I was literally to name him for Skull.
I was so thinking he could match Torby's energy like 100% and be 100 be totally full on in that in those shoes no problem. But him as Skull, as our buddy Spencer, would be so much more fun.
I can just picture him with the perfect tone being like, so Reaper is a job that is new in the expansion. Just perfect Skull going.
Now I'm trying to think, because for Solon, this is now the fact that
Solon is really hard, I think.
But so I want to bring it back to you.
Now I want Michael Cera and Jenna Ortega to do the next Final Fantasy 14 podcast.
I do want a movie poster of all of the actors. That's genuinely what I kind of really am getting towards here.
Chorby, I'm going to give a weird flex. I'm going to go into the world of professional wrestling for Chorby's casting.
I just came up with someone, but I want to hear what you have to say. I am going to go
with Tiny Nipples himself from the Motor City Machine Guns, Alex Shelley. I honestly just wanted to make the joke that Alex Shelley has tiny nipples. They're so weird.
Do you think Solon has tiny nipples?
I don't know, but Alex Shelley does. They're weird. That guy should always wear a shirt.
I'll be able to figure that out because we're going to be at the beach when I get to Seattle.
I am kind of surprised we haven't gotten an Adam Scott in here somewhere. You know, Walker can be Adam Scott, I think. But
congratulations, Walker, you're white now.
I was gonna say give them my Gael Garcia Bernal pull. No, give them the Pedro Pascal push.
Yeah,
that one's good. I like
Walker
that.
Walker gets Pedro.
Now, I was thinking for Solon. But I think this could actually match your energy really well, Mav. I was thinking we could get Zach Cherry in on this.
Zach Cherian?
No, Zach Cherry in on this. Have you watched Severance?
I haven't.
Okay. Well, okay. That's fine. You don't need to watch it. But I think I think he would genuinely fit Solon. I think we have I think we have I don't know. I think we have a strong cast. Who are you missing? We need a Franny. Who's our Franny? Franny is a little tough. Who are we feeling? I like the idea of pulling from the wrestling world. I feel like that's playing in Franny's space.
All right, then who are you going to get?
I'm thinking. It's really hard.
Kid Bandit as Franny.
Kid Bandit as Franny. I could see it.
I need Kid Bandit to do her 10-year time skip if that's the case. Not a nog. I just feel like there are very distinct energies at play.
Yeah, I'm trying to I'm trying to figure out who fits Franny's nervous lesbian energy, you know?
I mean, I guess ask Aubrey Edwards to play nervous.
Oh, not bad.
I like it. Okay. We got it. Full cast. I want to see that poster now. Let's move on to the next question. Really glad we fixed audio. Everything works now. Question deleted. Our next question comes from Bigger Challenges. Bigger Challenge asks, make up a game about Easter. It must involve eggs, bunny, and our Lord Savior Jesus Christ. What genre is it? Is it any good? So when I think of Jesus in our Easter game, I think of him as more of like a lore figure, as like here's someone who is not necessarily one of the main characters in the game, but is pretty prominent in like the item descriptions. And I think what you're mostly doing is you're a little guy who throws eggs at dudes.
Hmm.
How are we feeling? What's your specific Easter game?
And it has to include, what is it, the bunny and eggs?
It has to include eggs. It doesn't say the Easter bunny specifically, but bunnies in general, and our Lord Savior Jesus Christ.
So, one more time, run by me. What are my necessities?
Eggs, bunnies, Jesus.
All right.
What genre is it? Isn't any good? I like a good Metroidvania here in this, but I could also see like a 3D puzzle platformer.
Visual novel about a woman understanding the grief of losing her partner during an Easter weekend at her family's house.
Oh,
Part
wow.
of it deals with a chance to meet Jesus, but only through a near-death experience that she then has to work through for the like latter end of the game. And the eggs are essentially like you go through a like painting course, like you're literally painting eggs in an afternoon, and that is sort of like the avenue in which you explore these different like focal points with I don't know, your niece or something.
Is the game good?
I could be.
Well, that's part of the question is it any good?
If I'm writing it, no, not at all.
Okay. I think my game, which is where you play as one of many different types of bunnies. Like this one over here on the side is would likely be one of the many bunnies that you play as.
Yeah.
He's the twisted, fucked up one. But you got a whole bunch of different bunnies. They're throwing different eggs around. Some of them have different powers. The big thing that they're trying to do is they need to get a special egg into a very big like volcano or something, and it's gonna like stop the volcano from erupting. And also there's just a very heavy religious influence on it. There's some lore surrounding our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. It's a very bad game. It sucks ass.
So it's Kaiju Big Batel, but instead of buildings in the ring, it's eggs, and you have to not crush them.
You wouldn't crush the eggs?
No,
Why?
because your goal is to save the eggs, because you play as Jesus.
Uh-huh.
Our Lord and Savior. Oh, I'm frozen in the thing, so it doesn't get
I know, but I did
Antonio
hold on,
Inoki.
I'm working on it. I did like seeing you there though. I did like just a nice little shot there. Now you're coming in low res.
Good. But, it's just a professional wrestling game with monsters and giant bunny rabbits and the Easter bunny and Jesus wrestling over a field of flowers and eggs.
Is it good?
Oh, it's fucking terrible. It's a wrestling game.
Of course,
Probably made by Ukes.
IGN 3 out of 10. Okay,
Well,
question.
no, their review reads like a 3 out of 10, but
But
they
it's
paid
an
for
8.5,
advertisement on
yeah.
the site, so it gets a 7.
Question deleted. Next question from Anonymous. Anonymous asks, who's your favorite character who died and returned to life? There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them if you think about it in video games. That's happening
That's
constantly.
spoilers.
Wow. I mean, if you think about it, who is the Master Chief but someone who responds, you know?
Yeah.
If you think about video games, it's always happening. And
Always.
that's why video games are the most Christian and based genre of entertainment. Which one died and came back that you like?
I like when Mario died and then he came back and I was able to beat the rest of the video game.
It's true. It's because he had another life. He got a green mushroom. Anyway, did we watch Mario movie yet?
No,
I thought about it. I genuinely considered yesterday when I was out and about in town, I was like, I could wait like another hour after I finished dinner. And I had an early dinner that day. But like I could go to the 6 o'clock showing of the Mario movie, but I didn't want to because I was already feeling a little bit tired.
God, I want to. I feel like I'm gonna watch the Mario movie this week, and we'll have some real Mario talk.
I might too, honestly.
I'm probably gonna go tonight after dinner.
That's Lorelai, your favorite character who died and came back to life?
I mean, to be fair, the only reason I was able to beat Mario was throwing Yoshi into that damn pit just to get to the next.
Wait,
What?
is it Mario or Yoshi?
It's Yoshi.
Oh, okay. I thought we had 2 for Mario.
Because Yoshi comes back.
Yeah, I mean,
Throw his ass in that pit of spikes, and he's still right back to you.
Technically, the new Yoshis come from eggs, so I don't think Yoshi comes back. I think they just birth another one. I don't know if Yoshi maintains the memories that it had before. Otherwise, it would probably not be too happy with Mario.
Probably not be Mario's best friend.
No.
Hi.
And mine is,
You don't know that.
And mine is, of course, Jesus Christ. Next question.
Yeah.
The Easter Bunny hid an egg somewhere in this message. Can why egg emoji you find it? You have 5 guesses. I think it is. I think it is this this you here. One. That's it.
I can't fucking see the Tumblr. I don't know.
No, I think it is the 6th word of
Egg.
that sentence.
You're right. It says egg right there. Holy shit. We're so fucking smart. We're so bad.
There's also, if you take the E from somewhere and the G from 2 of the other words, you also get an egg.
Question deleted. Thank you so much, Anonymous. Next question from Anonymous. What video game character believes in the Easter Bunny and would be very upset if they found out it weren't real?
Toon Link.
Toon Link, yes. But mostly because, like, I don't think it would conceptualize the Easter Bunny as its own, like, unique, bespoke, like, holiday figure. I feel like it would hear about the Easter Bunny and go, oh, that's normal. That's, like, a thing that would normally exist in my world and wouldn't think twice about it. And then, like, as soon as you go, haha, it's not real, he'd just kind of be like, oh, that's kind of a bummer. I do like that. I like Toon Link.
Yeah.
It's very difficult because, like, a lot of these, like, a lot of things that you could pick are either anthropomorphic animals that, like, would kind of be, like, mildly disappointed. or it would be a child whose heart you're breaking. I think it would be very interesting if you had to explain to Solid Snake that the Easter Bunny was not real. Because I do think he thinks it's real. He definitely thought
I think Naked Snake believes that the Easter Bunny is real.
Yes, I can see
Solid
that.
Snake might have already made peace with that.
Solid Snake probably already had that harsh conversation with Colonel Campbell. Yeah, that's really sad to think about. I hate to see my friend Solid Snake troubled like that. Next question comes from our friend Elvie. Elvie asks, if you had a video game themed Easter bonnet, what would the theme be and what would it be made of? It would be video game themed. You already said it in the question. What's your Easter bonnet made of?
Straw, but not real straw, fake plastic
Cell-shaded straw. I think my bonnet would be Mario's hat. You just put it in the hat. Maverick, what's your video game bonnet?
The Kingdom Key.
Uh-huh.
It's a Keyblade, except that instead, like, it is themed appropriately, and so the blade itself is in the shape of the cross, obviously, and then the handle is made out of various Peeps candies. The keychain is a little rabbit, like a rabbit silhouette, instead of like a mouse. And every time that you swing it around, it makes it reads out Bible verses.
A good bonnet. Elvie also asks, you know what's lacking in video game representation? Allergic people. You mean to tell me you got season-changing mechanics in games and none of these MFers go, achoo? Who seems like they should be dreading allergy season the most? Now, we talked about Metal Gear. It does, in fact, have these mechanics. It does, in fact, have Snake going into weather or interacting with animals that he doesn't quite gel with, and then he goes, achoo. That's his voice. You can also spin him around and he throws up. But who isn't as perfect as Solid Snake?
Again, you're confusing my man's. Well, no,
they're all the same. They're all the same. I know the differences between them.
They are not all the same.
I know the differences between them, Maverick. I'm using Solid Snake as a catch-all term.
Wow, you're not even paying it up to the true patriot of Easter, Big Boss, who had to kill his own personal Jesus.
You know what? Big Boss does die in Metal Gear 1 and then comes back in Metal Gear 2.
Yeah, and you know the reason for that? Metal Gear Solid 5.
Play Metal Gear Solid 5, baby. Yeah, but does he sneeze?
No military professional still has access to allergies anymore.
Yeah.
This I believe.
They all got the allergy drug.
Exactly. Dr. E. Gad probably has to deal with mad allergies. I will just default to saying every nerd character that's existed in video games.
Yeah, Otacon, yeah. Eggman.
Dr. Eggman actually has an allergy to egg.
That's really bad.
Yeah.
Why would you be named? That feels like traumatizing.
That's why he hates the world, because all he wants are eggs. He's the Eggman, but he can't egg. He can only walrus.
Question deleted. Final question coming from Anonymous. Anonymous asks, and again, if you want to sound like Anonymous, you can go to videogamechoochoo.tumblr.com/ask to ask us questions. Anonymous asks, what is the gamer's prayer? And I think we all know the gamer's prayer from heart, right?
Our gamers who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on the save point as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily gamer fuel and deliver us from the cheat codes and lead us not into Uber hacksaws. Amen.
Game on.
Came in really clutch there.
Question
Thank
deleted.
you.
That's all the questions we have. Thank you so much to everyone who sent in questions. Thank you so much, both Maverick and Lorelei, for hanging out with me on Easter to ask for this very special Easter podcast. So where can people find you both?
You can
Why?
find me on Twitter and Twitch at twitch.tv/judgmentscythe and twitter.com/judgmentscythe, where I stream pretty regularly once I finish moving all my furniture in and putting it together. And make bad jokes, and yeah.
Maverick, where can people find you?
People can find me on Twitter at Mavsplaniamania. That's at MAVSPLANIAMANIA, where I just bullshit and talk about stuff. Don't really have any. There's like a want in me to get an essay down, but it's one of those things where I just need to actually ruminate on the idea a little bit, especially because it's based on stuff that I know has already been long since trodden. And my thing is, if I want to make something, I want to make the good version of it. And there's plenty of bad versions out there, but then I don't know if I will just make more of the bad version of this. But other than that, if I have more reviews coming out, they'll certainly be up on the site. That's mainly where a lot of my creative juices come out nowadays. But right now, yeah, I'm just hanging out.
You can follow me on Twitter, FKA Socks. And I'm all over the place. I'm hanging out. You can also check out what we do at videogamechoo.com. That's where we will find all of our content. You can also follow us on Twitter at VGCC. On Tumblr, videogamechoo.tumblr.com. Put yourself a /ask after that. Ask us a question for the podcast. Go to facebook.com/videogamechoo. youtube.com/videogamechoo. If you're joining us live, you're of course watching us on twitch.tv/VGCC. And if you want to support us, you can go on patreon.com/VGCC, and you can just pay a meager $3 a month for all of our content a week early, including our anime podcast, Unlimited Railworks. Mav, what's happening in anime?
Just now we had finished up catching up on spring television shows and stuff that's coming out for the spring season. This Tuesday we're going to be recording our episode on Tekkyu, the 9-season anime produced by Mappa about a tennis club. The joke is that all the episodes are 2 minutes long.
Ooh, sounds fun. That one sounds breezy.
Oh, nice and breezy. It's essentially the same as watching an 11-episode series, but
of course, yeah.
Instead of 11 episodes, it's 100 and something.
And if you want to come hang out with us, you can always go to the gamezone.zone. And you can join our Discord. You can also find that link on our website in case that link doesn't work for whatever reason. And you can find our theme song if you're listening to this on the podcast feed. Our theme song, Magic is Real, by Melt Channel, off the album Crush. No, wait, I said that all wrong. Our theme song is Crush, off the album Magic is Real, by Melt Channel, and you can find their stuff at meltchannel.bandcamp.com. And you can also check out their other act, Magic Circuit, at magic-circuit.bandcamp.com. Thanks so much for joining us for the Video Game Choo Choo podcast. I'm ready to freaking worship tonight and go tell Jesus I love him. Are you both very excited?
Yes.
Our God is an awesome God. He reigns over heaven and earth. Our God is an awesome God. He reigns over heaven and earth.
Thanks so much for joining us. Chugga chugga. Good night. No, wait. Good night. Goodbye. Bang. Chugga chugga. So long.